Good morning and welcome today to the Eelectron webinar dedicated to our Bluetooth solution called Otomo. Thank you very much for joining us today and I hope you will have a great time with us. My name is Giangiacomo Pastore and I'm in charge for the export sales of Eelectron for the European countries. Today with me, Matteo Sagnelli, which is the product specialist for Otomo, we will introduce you our latest news regarding our Bluetooth solution. With this webinar, we are happy to inform you that we are active. R&D, sales, manufacturing, and logistics are regularly working. And of course, we comply with the regulatory indication regarding precaution and hygiene rules to limit the risk of spreading the virus. With this webinar, we want to tell you that we won't stop and we don't stop. As you know, Light and Building has been postponed to September 2020, but we want to keep the opportunity to update you live with this webinar regarding our latest news. I kindly remind you that Light and Building, like I said, is postponed in September, and we will participate as usually in our booth C32 All 11.1. The agenda of today is include an introduction of Otomo as products range, and also an explanation regarding the possible applications and solution. And of course, also what will be the next steps of this products range, so what will arrive in the next coming months. At the end of the webinar, we will ask you to participate in a question and answering session, and you will receive also a feedback survey. We also remind you that during the webinar, you can also talk with us, write to us questions, so we can reply at the end of the webinar. On this slide, since this is a public webinar, we would like also to inform you about our histories and facts. In fact, Eelectron is a family company founded in 1994 and based in Milan, with more than 30,000 rooms installed all over the world, which includes also important residential condos and villas project. We do manufacture and ideate our products in Italy, and we are the third European company to develop a KNX stack. We are having offices in Middle East and Asia, and our solutions are sold and installed in more than 80 countries. Since 2005, we are a member of KNX Association as a manufacturer, and we are also participating actively in the KNX Technical Board. We are also a training center certified. With a strong development of our products and with an eye of customization, Eelectron continues to deliver its path of innovation from simple to premium room automation for different applications dedicated on vertical markets. Eelectron continues to follow its roots of building and home evolution as a real player. On this slide, you can see a recall on our portfolio of products. As you will see, there are part dedicated to design switches, which includes 9025, 3025 and Eelecta. A dedicated part to the supervision, which has been presented last week, and I hope you were there with us. A part of KNX actuators, which includes gateways, dimmers, interfaces, and so on. A guest room management system for hotel application. A new part which has been presented a couple of weeks ago called Multi-Sensors KNX, that you can find soon online on our YouTube channels. Part dedicated to multi-controller and HVAC, which will be presented next week on a public webinar. So if you are interested, you can join us. And a last part that you can see at the bottom of the slide, which is called Otomo, and what you will see today with us. I thank you for joining us today in our webinar, and I let Matteo continue the presentation. Thank you very much, and have a good time with us.
Hello everyone, thank you Giangiacomo for your introduction. I'm Matteo Sagnelli and I'm the product specialist of Otomo. First of all, today I want to show you a brief video on Otomo and let's say the main targets and how this system works. here we are, Otomo. Otomo is a system with the main target in the office, is an automation system that enhance the user experience, because with that system you can control and manage lighting, shading, and overall the comfort of your office with, for example, automized scenarios based on qualified presence. That means our Otomo system recognize the presence of a specific user and start specific scenarios. And the user, of course, can make all the variation he needs to that specific scenario by using the mobile application that you can find on both Android and Apple Store. We decided to use the Bluetooth instead of the Wi-Fi, also because the system drains less power to the mobile phone during a normal usage than the Wi-Fi, and it will be compatible to also all the future smartphones that will be released in the years to come. This solution is compliant with the efficiency class A. That means by installing Otomo in an office, you can save up to 33% of lighting electricity. So this is a really important point of this solution. And with the same mobile application that the user can use to control the different devices, the installer can, in a quickly and cost-effective way, install and configure all the devices. And due to that application, the configuration and the maintenance are easy and fast to do. Otomo is a system composed by different type of devices. Some of the devices has environmental sensors such as brightness or temperature sensors. And as I mentioned before, the system works by detecting the presence of a qualified user. So the system knows that, for example, my account is inside my office, so it starts my specific scenario. For example, a certain lux level, the shutters goes up, and so on. We decided to use the Bluetooth technology, but we developed our own mesh protocol over the Bluetooth technology. In this way, the mesh is more strong and the architecture is more reliable. And this Bluetooth, the installer don't need to interact with any IT or Wi-Fi in an office installation, making him to can install by himself. And as mentioned before, with the same application that you can find on the stores, you can install and configure and control the Otomo system. Those are the components of the system. The first of all is the DALI module. The DALI module is made by two different broadcast DALI channels in which you can plug at maximum 8 ballasts per channel, and also two 16 amps relay. We decided to put also the 16 amps relay because we call this an office module. So with that single module, you can control two different lighting zones and a shutter to control one simple office. The second family of devices is our own in-wall actuator, the IO42, 41, and 40. Those actuators have 4 inputs, 2 analog inputs and 2 digital inputs, and are 3 versions. One, just the input. The second one with one 10 amps relay to control a generic load, and the last one, 2 relays to control, for example, a shutter. The next device is our ceiling brightness and temperature sensor that can be connected to the IO42 and 41 inputs. And the next one is the traditional presence detector, because it's true that Otomo works by detecting a Bluetooth presence, the Bluetooth of the mobile phone, for example. But if you install, for example, Otomo in a meeting room or in a training room, and those areas usually host some guests that probably don't have the Otomo application, with that presence detector, you can reach the same comfort level that you can reach with the mobile Bluetooth presence detection, but with a traditional presence detector. Now you can see that we have a Bluetooth beacon that can substitute the mobile application for the Bluetooth presence detection. A table lamp. That table lamp has also a brightness and a temperature sensor So, for example, you can put it on your desk, and with that sensor, you can adjust the brightness of the DALI on top of your desk. And the last one is our ceiling lamp. It's a ceiling lamp made by a lighting design company, in which we put our IO42 module to make this device the first one of the Otomo-enabled device. And of course, the application that you can find on the store for smartphone and tablet. Those are the key features and benefits about Otomo, because it's scalable and affordable, because it's true that the office is the main target of this system, but due to the Bluetooth and the easy way to configure it to the application, Otomo can be installed in a wide range of offices and workspaces. With the circadian rhythm directly integrated inside the DALI module, you don't need to configure anything in particular, but just enable that feature. And with the two types of our sensors, you can enable the constant dimming for the comfort and energy saving of your office. As mentioned before, the installer don't need high-level skills in programming to configure this system, but with the application, it's easy to install, but this system is a professional system as well. As mentioned before, also the system works by detecting the presence of the mobile app or the beacon, and with our application simplifies a lot further expansion or modification, because in some minutes you can add or delete some modules to modify your network and the maintenance. This, as you can see, is a real office layout. And as you can see, with a small amount of devices, you can control lighting and shutters. Because, for example, in the first office, with one Otomo DALI, you can control two different lighting zones. And with the J key, you can adjust the brightness to stay at the certain lux level. And with the two IO42, you can control the shutters. In the second office, the table lamp is substituted by our ceiling brightness and temperature sensor, and the two IO42 still control the two shutters. After the installation and the commissioning, that for an office that I showed you before, it approximately 50 minutes, the installer will need to train a master user. What is a master user? Is a user of the network, an occupant, that will have a specific knowledge on how to register the different accounts, on how to modify those accounts. For example, add them to the network and change the permission to control specific devices or not, and change some network settings such as names and so on. This train, it lasts from 30 to 45 minutes to train this master user. That will help a lot the office owner to stay autonomous for some small changes to the network, and helps the installer to train all the other users of the network on basic user settings, such as register their account and join the network. Now, I would like to show you a brief demo on how to configure, modify, and properly use an Otomo network. So I will share the screen of my mobile phone, and I will use our demo case. As you can see, the demo case is made by different devices. This one on the bottom is the table lamp with the brightness and temperature sensor. This one is our DALI, which is connected to this one. This is LED tunable white stripe. This one is the IO41 connected to this LED and those two push buttons, and the IO42 connected to those two LED that simulates a shutter. On the application, this is the first screen that the application shows you once you download it. The first thing you need to do is to sign up on Otomo. So by pressing the button, you need to fill all the fields, and you can permission and privacy policy. After that, you need to log in by typing your email and your password, like this. And now you join the Otomo application. Now you see the My Networks page. This page shows you all the networks associated to your account. Like in this case, I have many networks such as our Milan headquarter network, Dubai office, and so on. By creating a new network, you need to press the plus button and the tutorial will appear. The first thing is to name the network, for example, My Otomo. After that, by pressing step 2, you need to create the different areas. For example, I will create 2 or 3 areas, such as admin department, meeting room, and for example, my office. Now, by clicking step 3, you need to add the devices. By pressing the plus button, you need to, first of all, write the name of the device. In this moment, we are putting inside the IO42. So I will name it, to control a shutter, so I will name it Shutter Matteo, because it will be put inside my network. Now I will scan the QR code and put inside Matteo's office. In this way, the application shows you all the possible configuration for that specific device. In this case, we will select shutter 1, and the system will automatically interlinks the two relay to control a shutter. Down you see the input. In this case, we didn't connect anything to the input, so we deselect all the checkbox. And last, we will add a scheduler. The first thing is a timer scheduler. So that means, for example, the shutter will go up at 8 in the morning and will go down at 6 in the afternoon. But we will set a proximity scheduler. That means if your account has the permission to control that specific device, if you are close to the Bluetooth range, the device recognizes your account and starts the scenario. So if you are close to that specific shutter, the shutter will go up, and if you go away, the shutter will go down. Okay, and end. To add other devices, you just need to press the plus button again, name the devices. In this case, I will put inside this one, which is the DALI. So I will name it DALI Matteo. After that, I will scan the QR code and again put it inside Matteo's office. Okay, as you can see, it has the two relays, like the IO42, and the two DALI channels. In this case, I will select dimmer tunable white, because by doing that, the system, like for example a shutter, interlinks the two DALI channels to control that LED tunable white stripe. We will set the same proximity scheduler and end. Last one, we will put inside the table lamp, which is this one, and I will scan the QR code. Put it inside my office, and that's it, because that lamp doesn't have any configuration because the brightness temperature sensor are by default enabled. Last thing, and in this way, you have almost configured all the devices. The last thing you need to do is to press send, and after that, yes. In this way, you are sending the configuration, first of all, to the cloud to store them, and after that, the device is making a Bluetooth scan to search for the devices. Once the application has found the first device, it sends all the configuration, all the devices to the first device. And due to our mesh protocol, that device will forward the configuration to all the other devices that belongs to the same network. Now, as you can see in the My Network page, it appears my Otomo network. If I want to enable the circadian circle and the custom dimming, I need to press on the pencil on the right of my Otomo network and come back inside the manager part. If I want to enable the custom dimming and the presence and the circadian circle, the first thing I need to do is to put a proximity scheduler on that DALI device, because those two features works only in a presence detection. Second thing is to go on ambience, select the correct area, and choose for the custom dimming a specific brightness level. For example, in this case, we will put 400 lux. After that, we need to select, I go in meeting room, I'm in Matteo's office. After that, we need to select the main device. As you can see, the main device is the table lamp, because the main device is the sensor that controls the custom dimming function in that specific area. And for the custom dimming, we have done all the configuration. For the circadian rhythm, you need to go on lights, select, for example, in this case, the dimmer tunable white. And the first thing you can do is to change the display name for the user, of course. And second one, enable the circadian circle and adjust the start and end time for that. Now go back, and send the configuration in the same way as we did before. So now the application is making again a Bluetooth scan, and as you can see, the second time is much faster than the first one. Now we want to add the permission to control that devices. Again, pencil. Now you need to select the users, and as you can see, there's only my user. So if I select it, the first thing I can see is that my user has the manager privileges. That means I can make modifies and changes to that network. After that, I go on associated lights, and I can associate or not the lights that I want. The same thing for shutters. And as you can see, if I go on associated areas, only Matteo's office is associated to my account, because I associate to my account devices that belongs only to that area. After that, back, and send again the configuration. Now we are ready to control the devices. If I press on the name of the network, my Otomo, I go inside the user part of the application. And as you can see, the application shows me only Matteo's office. If I press on it, I can see all the devices inside Matteo's office. And for example, to control a shutter, I need to double tap on it. And if I press up, the shutter will go up. If I press down, the shutter will stop its course. And if I press down, vice versa, it's going down and up to stop it. To control a DALI, I need to double tap on the icon, and this menu will appear. So if I slide this one, I can lights on the DALI, and I can choose between warm, natural, and cool white, and of course switch it off. In the same way, I can control the Jackie, the table lamp, but in this case we didn't put the LED panel because it don't fit inside the demo case. Last thing is that on the left of the Matteo's office name, you can see an icon. If you tap on that, you can see the temperature and brightness level in this area. And if I light up my torch, as you can see, the brightness level increase correctly. Now, if I want to make, for example, a change, so add another device, I go back again in my networks page, press the pencil to go inside the manager part of the network, and go, for example, on devices. And in the same way that we did before, by pressing plus, I need to select the name. So in this case, I will add this IO41. So I will call it Light Matteo, for example. And after that, I will scan the QR code. Now, step 2, as you can see, this device has only one relay. So I will select light 1, and I will select the 2 digital input to control a shutter on the other device. And as you can see, the input 1 I select to control the shutter 1, automatically the input 2 is selected to control the down for the same shutter. Now I will associate to my account and set the same scheduler of the other devices and end. Now I will go back on user, my user, and associate that light to my user. Otherwise, I won't see that device inside the user part of the application. Last thing is if you want to add other users, you need to go again inside here, user, and tap on the plus button. Here you need to insert the username, which is the email of the registration. And as I did for my account, you need to set the different permission for account, so the areas and specific devices, and to enable or not manager privileges and so on. Now, if we go back back, we are again in the My Networks page. If we go inside My Otomo, again, you can see My Office. And if I tap on My Office, now I see also the Light 1 button. And if I press on the Light 1, as you can see, the LED connected to that device will switch on. At the end, if you press on the tab Settings, you can enable the presence detection, because as you can see now, I'm close to the Bluetooth range of the devices with my phone, but they don't recognize my presence because that setting is not enabled. In this case, I can control them normally because the Bluetooth is still on, but they don't recognize my presence. And if I select the sending presence button, the device recognized my presence. And as you can see, the shutter automatically is going up due to the presence detection. Once I'm out of the office, and as you can see now, the LED is adjusting its brightness to reach the 400 lux that I set before. Once I left the office, after 2 minutes, the device recognized that I'm no longer inside the office and will stop the scenario. So the shutter go down and the DALI will switch off. And to do that, I can simulate it by deselecting the sending presence menu. The last thing, if you press on Profile, you can log out from the application and you can see this QR code, because if to add other user inside the network, you can write manually, email, or scan the QR code of that user. Now, as you can see, I have here my other phone with the same Otomo application and with the same account on it. And as you can see from here, you can see, or it's difficult to see a phone through a screen, but as you can see, I have the same network on the other Android phone. This is because of our cloud, because if you register, all the network that you create are stored on our cloud. That means if you break your phone or want to change your phone, you just need to sign in on the application with the same credential, and you will find all your network that you had on the previous phone. Now, this little demo is finished, and I will come back with our slide. And I hope you enjoy the demo and you see how it's easy and quickly to install an office using Otomo, because in some minutes we installed a real office layout with the shutter control, generic load control, lighting and presence detection and brightness control. Now, after that, I want to show you some tips and tricks for the installer to drive a fast and successful installation. The first thing is take advantage of the QR code. Take advantage of the QR code don't mean you install the devices and after that with your application go inside the ceiling, scan the QR code and so on. But we give different QR codes inside the packaging. So you can create, for example, a document with all the QR code on it of the different devices. And if you ask to the owner of the office or the manager all the preferences such as names, functions, and so on, you can create this document with the QR code and nearby the description. So this device is this module with this name and it will have this specific function. This allows you to configure the Otomo devices in a more easy way. And you can program Otomo anytime and anywhere. This because our mesh protocol. Because, for example, you have a certain amount of device installed in an office, and you have that document with all the configuration of the network. If you have your own Otomo device as an installer, you can stay at your office, program all the network, and send the configuration to your own Otomo device. After that, later on, you can go to the office, to the installation, connect that Otomo device to the power supply, and that device automatically recognize all the other Otomo devices nearby and send them automatically the configuration through the Bluetooth. And this is a really interesting part about our mesh protocol. Next, train that master user, because this will help you a lot on the commissioning and on how to register the other account and so on. And This is a really helpful thing to do in our opinion. And you can send a quick guide, 2 lines and few words to the owner of the office on how to register the account. So once you come in the office to commission the system, all the users, all the occupant of the office already knows how to register and have their own account ready to be programmed. As you can see, here are the real example office layout, because as I mentioned before, Otomo can be installed in a different office shapes, such as in this case, an open space, because with our qualified presence detection, you can set different lighting and dimming zone and presence zone in the same space due to the qualified presence detection. And of course, some training and meeting room, because you can set with one DALI to control all the lighting, and both with the Bluetooth presence detection and a traditional presence detector connected to the DALI, you can set the same level of comfort if you are hosting employees with the application or host without the application. An additional key feature, as I mentioned before, and I show you before, I have lots of network associated to my account. This is a powerful tool to manage multi-site installation. And as you can see, I have associated to my account our Milan headquarter network with all the areas and so on, but also our Otomo network in a Dubai office. That means our manager can control and manage multiple networks, our 2 networks, just with his phone. And of course, you can install a limitless number of network, let's say, because are all stored on our cloud. Now I'll show you, let's say, a standalone version of Otomo. And what's next? In the next few weeks or months, we will release an Otomo KNX gateway. This will be a bi-directional gateway, so you can link the Otomo networks to a KNX bus and let the devices from the 2 different buses speak to each other. So for example, with our 9025 push button, you can control and dim a DALI Bluetooth on the ceiling without cabling the DALI on the ceiling, or with the same 9025 you can control the Otomo shutter in the same way without cabling the shutter to a physical bus, and so on. But also that device allows the KNX bus to game changer features such as the table lamp brightness sensor, because with that gateway you can use a table lamp brightness sensor to control KNX lighting installation. Or you can substitute all the KNX presence detector in an installation with KNX Otomo gateway and give the feature of a Bluetooth presence detection to a KNX installation. And this is another really powerful thing and feature of this new device. Now you can see the starter kit. Otomo is ready, and this is the starter kit to, let's say, figure it out how to use it and for example also show to colleagues and customer and so on how easy and fast it is to work with our Otomo system and those specific devices. Now I will give field to my colleague Gian Giacomo.
Thank you, Matteo, for the presentation, and I hope to all the attendees that they have a good time with us today, and the introduction of the product range was very interesting for them. As you can see on this slide, dedicated marketing tools are now available for all of you. You can see from the working and dummy demo case for display design switches, or even the new multi-sensors range dedicated for different kind of actors from our market, so from the architects to the planners here to the end user. It's also available for you now operational demo case dedicated on different application for what concerning the KNX part, so the hotels and offices, and also an operational demo case for Otomo's range that you saw this morning is already available for your needs to display the functionality as Matteo showed you this morning. Also for the KNX part, simple kit testing products is available now for testing, like I said, or even for showroom. So with this slide, we want to communicate that we follow your needs based on our products range. With the next slide, you can see also that on our website is now available dedicated new products catalogs with all the latest news launched in 2020, a brochure dedicated on solutions on our products, a catalog dedicated on the design, so on the design switches, one dedicated for the OTAS applications, and of course one dedicated to the Otomo's range, which I remind you also that coming through our website, you can go also on the dedicated part of Otomo, which is called otomo.cloud. I kindly remind you to subscribe to our newsletter to keep always updated about our latest novelties. And of course, I remind you also that, like I said at the start of the webinar, that we will be present in Light and Building next September, so you can see all the novelties that we show with you the last weeks during this webinar, but also a lot of new things. The further initiative, the last webinar of this session, it will happen next week. It will be dedicated to miscellaneous and HVAC application. You should have already received the invitation. We kindly remind you to follow on our social networks such as Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, or YouTube to follow all the latest novelties. These webinars are recorded and will be available soon on our YouTube channel, so you can see again. And all the technical documentation regarding the products that we show with you today and the products that we show with you in the last week regarding the web server, the multi-sensors, and so on, are all available on our website. So remember to sign up to our newsletter. Conclusion of the webinar, today you saw an overview of Otomo products range, and you saw also that a lot of new things regarding this portfolio will be launched in the next months. The presentation, it will be available to you, it will be sent to you through email, and it will be available for your needs. We ask you to share with your colleagues if we were not able to participate today with us. And you will receive also a feedback survey on email, which we ask you kindly to do it for us for empower more and more our webinars. We remind you also that new sessions will be happening the next month online, so keep your eyes peeled with us and follow us on our socials. Thank you very much for joining us today again. Thank you, Matteo, for the presentation. I hope you have a great time with us and a pleasant presentation. We would like now to open the question and answering session, so we are at your disposal to reply at your question or needs.